Hey there folks, welcome to the channel and welcome to me trying to pronounce the name of a sausage that I have no business pronouncing. We're talking about the stomach sausage from the Upper Savinja Valley. All right, are you ready? This is going to be my best attempt. I've been practicing this all day. Here we go. Zgornjesavinjski želodec. There it is. That's how I say it. Let me know in the comment section below. 1 out of 10. How did I do? One more time. Zgornjesavinjski želodec. Okay. This is a Slovenian salami with an incredibly cool presentation. The stomach or the bladder is often used. We're going to be using the bladder in today's episode. It's filled with mincemeat that's simply seasoned and it's pressed. And so the end result is a disc-shaped salami. And when it's cut long ways. So your final piece is a very oblong-shaped dry-cured piece of meat. I've yet to try it. I've been wanting to make this for quite some time, and so I'm very excited. We're going to be getting into it today. And y'all know what day it is. It's Monday, and time to announce this week's giveaways from the sponsor of our show, The Sausage Maker. Are you familiar with who The Sausage Maker is? They're a family-run business out of Buffalo, New York. We've been using The Sausage Maker since we started our sausage-making journey. Back then, we were getting premixes. Breakfast sausage, Italian sausage, Polish sausage, premixes because it was the easiest thing to do. I didn't want to invest in a lot of equipment. But as I grew in my journey, the Sausage Maker had everything I needed along the way. Grinders, stuffers, seasonings. As I continued to grow and became more advanced in my journey, they had the things that I needed to take me to that place as well. Starter cultures, dry curing chambers, and everything needed to make salami and high-level charcuterie. So if you're just getting started or if you've been doing this for quite some while and you need to re-up on your sausage making equipment or your sausage making spices, check out the Sausage Maker. I'm going to put a link to their website in the description box below. Let's talk about what we're giving away today. This week, the Sausage Maker is giving away a 20-pound capacity electric smokehouse. What? I thought I read that wrong, but that's exactly what they're giving away. 20-pound capacity electric smokehouse. You're also going to get the book, Great Sausage Recipes, and 3 5-pound bags of sawdust for your new smokehouse. I'm talking hickory, cherry, and applewood. In addition to that, you're also going to get a smoking bacon kit. This is all going to one person, just so you know. This is a bundle. We're going to award it on Sunday, but you're going to get a smoking bacon kit. Let me tell you what's in that. You're going to get a food lug, bacon hangers, and 3 different bacon cures: honey, brown sugar, and maple. So you can make bacon right out of the chute in your brand new smoker with your hickory sawdust. And then finally, in my opinion, the most valuable element of this particular bundle, the one piece of the prize that really seals the deal, you're getting a 1-pound sack of Savory. This is an incredible all-natural flavor enhancer. It's a 2 guys in a cooler product. I'm going to be throwing it in for free as part of this giveaway. Just my way of saying thank you for watching the show. We've been talking about this product here a lot here on Celebrate Sausage Season 6. It literally makes whatever you put it in taste better, and I cannot wait to hear all the different things that you've been using it in. Let me know in the comment section, have you already gotten your bag of Savory? And if you have, what's your favorite thing to add it to? How do you enter? Check the description box for all the details. You're going to have to leave this video a comment. Give it a thumbs up. That's just like standard issue. I'm also going to have a link in the description box where you can go and physically register, and there are different things that you can do during the registration process to increase your odds of winning. So check the description box below. It's going to have all the details in it for you. Let's try it one more time. Zgornjesavinjski želodec. Let's do it. Let's take a look at the meat we're going to be using. You can use a different combination of meat. We have pork shoulder, a little lean pork, that's from the hind leg of the pig, and then some pork back fat. Beautiful pieces right here. And the lean to fat ratio for this salami can be anything from 80% lean, 20% fat, or you could do 75-25. Really, the choice is yours. As I'm cutting this meat up, it's getting a little late. So what we're going to do is process the meat and then season it, place it in the fridge. We'll finish the process tomorrow. When it comes to the spices, very simply seasoned. We got SPG right here: salt, pepper, garlic. We're also going to be adding Instacure number 2, a little turbinado sugar, and some dextrose. One ingredient we're not adding right now is the starter culture. We're going to be adding that tomorrow at the time of mixing. One piece of equipment I would recommend when making salami and sausage, especially small batches, is a scale that can measure in very small quantities. Things like Instacure number 2, even dextrose. Larger scales can't really quite cut it. This is the scale that I use. I got it from the sausage maker, and it measures to the 100th of a place, and it's perfect for recipes that use ingredients in small quantities. We're going to take all of that and mix it with our meat so that it can hang out in the refrigerator overnight. One ingredient that I forgot to add, definitely not traditional, but in my opinion, absolutely necessary. It's going to make this salami taste incredible. It's savory. It's a natural flavor enhancer. We're also going to add the garlic at this point and give everything a mix. A recipe link in the description box below will have all the quantities of all the ingredients that we talked about in this video. This is going to cure overnight. So now that we've mixed it, everything's well incorporated, we're going to cover it with cling film, set it in the fridge, and why not? Let's just go ahead and get our casing ready. This is going to soak overnight in the refrigerator as well. You could take this sausage a couple different ways. The more traditional way is the hog stomach. I mean, the name Zgornjesavinjski želodec literally means the hog stomach sausage from the Upper Savinia Valley. You could also use the hog bladder, which is what we're going to be using here. And in my opinion, the hog bladder is a little easier to use. It blows up when we put the weight on it and it, squashes it down. It naturally forms the shape that we're looking for. I think the bladder is easier, so that's the one we're going to be using. And depending on the size bladder that you get, you can get different sizes. We got this at Craft Butcher's Pantry, will ultimately determine how much you make. So for this recipe, we're making about 2 kilos. And I'm going to cut the tip off of the top of that bladder. We need to open that up a little bit. Right now it's relatively tight. So into the sink it goes. Cool water. We're going to rinse the salt off the outside. And then we're going to try to fill the inside. We want to fill it up like a balloon. This is going to help stretch that bladder out. And that closed point right there at the top, we're just going to give it a little cut. You don't want to cut it too low. We don't need a huge opening. So we just need an opening large enough to either stuff this by hand or large enough to insert a stuffing to. Either one. So 1.5 inches from the top should be sufficient. As you can see right here, when I open it up, this is plenty big. To stuff it by hand or use a sausage stuffer, no problem there. I'm going to continue rinsing this out. So I'm going to fill it up a couple more times, rinse it out, toss the old water, and then in that little bowl, we're going to put some fresh new water for the final resting place. So that's what we've got right here. This has been rinsed out thoroughly 3 or 4 times. It's been stretched out, and the casing is ready to go. So I'm going to fill that up with cool water. And one last little step, it's optional, is to add baking soda to that water. Every once in a while, not always, the hog bladder might have a bit of an odor to it. By adding baking soda to the water, you will effectively neutralize that odor. And that would be the only reason why you would add baking soda. If the hog bladder doesn't have a smell to it, if it smells neutral, there's no need to add baking soda. Regardless of what you do, we're going to take this and place it into the fridge so that it can soak overnight. And the following day, we're going to complete the process. We need to get our starter culture ready. This is a fermented sausage, and we're going to be adding a bacterial starter culture to aid in that process. So as you can see, we're opening up a brand new pack. And I want to say I bought this pack 3 or 4 years ago, well past its best use by date. But as you will see in this video, it still works beautifully. We're adding a small amount to non-chlorinated water. We're going to let it rehydrate for 30 minutes on the counter. Let's get our mold ready. We're going to be adding a mold culture to this. This is mold 800. Mold 600 is another very popular mold culture. Matter of fact, I think it's the only one available in the United States at the moment. I'm not sure though. By adding a mold culture, you're choosing the mold you want to grow on your salami. If you put nothing, you run the risk of having unwanted, potentially dangerous molds grow in your salami. So we're going to be adding a beneficial mold. This is a warring mold, and it's going to colonize the salami, keeping other molds from wanting to grow. I've already prepared that mold culture in a little squirt bottle with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. And so that's what this is right here. I generally keep it in my refrigerator, and in this form, it's good for about 60 days. But I like to spritz my salami. I find that it uses the least amount of product and is still very effective. Another reason why I like the squirt bottle is because you reduce the chance of confusing the culture with the mold. The mold always goes on the outside. The culture always goes on the inside. Let's put this back into a vacuum seal bag. We're going to store it in the coldest part of our freezer. The bags can be found on the Sausage Baker's website, and this is the best way to get the longest life out of your cultures and mold. All right, let's grind this on a 10-millimeter plate. Our meat is still very cold, so I just transferred everything into our mixer, where we're going to now add our starter culture. If you're not familiar with what a starter culture is, it's basically just freeze-dried beneficial bacteria that consume the sugar inside your recipe and produce lactic acid. The production of lactic acid inside the meat reduces the pH, basically acidifying your meat, in essence creating an inhospitable environment for unwanted organisms. We're looking for a very sticky batter, and that is definitely sticky. In the KitchenAid, I think it only took a few minutes. not even a few minutes, maybe a minute and a half, and we've already got batter that sticks to the underside of our hand. I'm going to be using our 25-pound sausage stuffer at the moment, only because my 5-pound sausage stuffer needed a new gasket, and I did not have it in time while I was making this video. So this is the electric sausage stuffer, and what I'm doing is I'm putting a significant amount of pressure at the end of that stuffing horn, trying to stuff that hog bladder as tightly as I can. I want this to be as tightly compacted as possible. That's going to give us a beautiful bind after it's all said and done. Removing the meat from the horn using the sausage stuffing horn cleaner, we're just going to push it through. And there's always just a little bit of meat remaining in the hopper. We're going to use that to create a sample piece to test the pH. But for right now, we're just going to sew up the end of our hog bladder. And nothing special about the stitching pattern. We're just going to stitch it up, folding the stitch over the flap, making sure it's secure so that when we press it, no meat comes spilling out. I'm using a sausage pricker to give this sausage an overall prick. And then we're going to weigh it. We need to know what our actual weight is. So at this point, we're at 2,167 grams. We're going to target a 40% weight loss. That brings us down to 1,300 grams. This is the little bit of meat left over in our hopper. We're going to wrap that in cling film and let it ferment alongside of that hog bladder. Finally, we're going to spritz it with our mold. That's it, just the whole thing, up and down. Make sure we get the bottom. A layer of cling film under and over the salami, and then we're going to cover the whole thing with a sheet pan before we put our weights on top of it. This can be a little tricky, and it does get a bit slippery, so you want to make sure that you balance everything perfectly, but this is how we're going to do it right here. Now, if you actually have a salami press, that you can tighten, that would be the best way to go. But for right now, we're going to start with this. And this is kind of step one. As soon as it starts to flatten a little bit more, I'm going to flip that sheet pan over and then put that 30-pound weight on top of it again to flatten it even more. This is going to ferment at 75 Fahrenheit to 85 Fahrenheit or 23 to 29 Celsius with high humidity plus 85% for 18 to 24 hours. The target pH is 4.9 to 5.2. And how long it takes to get to that target pH is relative to the temperature, the amount of sugar that's in your recipe. So I typically like to check it at about 18, 19 hours to see if it's done. So this is the following day. Notice I've turned that sheet pan over. That 30-pound weight has been pressed right on top. This looks perfect. We're going to take the sample piece and just inspect it first. I always like to take a look at it so that I can hone in my senses on what to look for. Right now we've got a glossy finish. It's bound together. Definitely picking up a nice sweet fermented aroma. I'm guessing 4.92. Let's see how close I am. All right, so anything between 4.9 and 5.3 is acceptable. Our initial test here, 4.90, 91. Let's test another spot. Sometimes it's good to take multiple readings. Take the average of those three. Second reading here, 4.97. Okay, we could be hitting a fat pocket. Could be the difference in reading there. Third reading, 4.95. All right. Well within the range. Absolutely perfect. And like I said, anything between 4.9 and 5.3, you're good to go. We're going to transfer this to our dry curing chamber, where it's going to hang out there till it hits its target. Now, every day for probably the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to flip it. Okay, so today it's like that. Tomorrow, give it a flip. The following day, we're going to flip it over. And that's just going to allow better air circulation and mold coverage as the salami rests right there on that grating. Okay, let's close it down, take a quick look at the parameters inside this chamber. Now, this chamber is from the sausage maker, in case you were wondering. And the temperature is going to be between 50 and 60 Fahrenheit, or 10 and 15 Celsius. We want to keep the humidity between 75 and 80%. And our target weight loss for the salami is 35 to 40%. We're going to be targeting the number on the higher end, slightly drier salami, but you could go within that range. We're going to flip it daily for the first 2 to 3 weeks. And you can dry this anywhere where the conditions above are favorable. Basement, cellar, cave, drying chamber, it doesn't really matter. 80 days have passed, and our salami has now hit its target. When we open the chamber, it looks perfect. Mold coverage, top and bottom. And the interesting thing about mold is, as it ages and as it starts to go through its own life cycle, you're going to have areas that have mold, that don't have mold. So it's not that big of a deal if it's not entirely covered with mold. I like the thickness of it. Initially, I thought it might be too thick, but after it's dried and shrunken down a little bit, I don't think it's too thick at all. I think it's great. All right, let's give this a slice. Loving the aromas coming from this. Definitely picking up that mold 800. This is a little more of that, camembert cheese type of element. Not so much funky. It's a little more sweet, actually. And center slice. Here we go. Very good. Very pleased with that.
Loving the color. I like the grind. This is the epitome of particle definition. Love the marbling. Oh, just such a beautiful finish on this. One quick look at the finished product. One of the unique qualities of the salami is how it's sliced. It's a very long slice, so this makes for great appetizers. Just the overall salami itself looks beautiful. All right, let's give it a bite.
Zgornjesavinjski želodec, the Upper Savinia Valley stomach sausage. Check that out. Absolutely beautiful. Great presentation on this dried sausage. Just loving the way that came out. One more peek at the other half. Little mold coverage on both sides. Wow, it smells great. And this is a very simply seasoned sausage too, right? We just got salt, pepper, garlic. We did add a little savory to boost that umami quality. Not a big fan of just chewing on the hog bladder, and so we did remove it from that front half. We kept it on that back half, and let's just give it a bite. Wow, that's good. It's seasoned so perfectly. The savory is bringing in this low-level umami boost, but nothing overwhelming. The salt, pepper, garlic accent the pork, and the flavor of the pork is tremendous. I mean, it almost has this, almost like a nutty element going on. Definitely picking up a little bit of that mold, but it's not incredibly pronounced. I could have probably let this dry a little bit longer. I was kind of pressed for time, so I want to say this might have only been in there for, maybe a little less than 90 days. From what I'm to understand, this is actually dried for closer to maybe 4 or 5 months, even after you hit your weight target. So maybe weight target isn't super essential for this particular stomach sausage. It's more about, maturation time, aging time. And from experience, if you can let your meat dry for anywhere from 5 months on up, I mean even 9 months, the flavor profiles radically change, and you start to pull these really nice cheesy and nutty notes. I'm starting to get a little bit of that right now, but nothing as if it were to have aged, probably 5 months. Nonetheless, this is delicious. That is so different for me because I don't normally do a 10, 12 millimeter grind on a salami, but I gotta be honest, I'm kind of loving it. I'm loving the texture. I'm loving the mouthfeel. You can see right here, you got giant fat particles studded throughout, beautiful marbling. But when you take a bite, you bite into that fat, literally just melts in your mouth, loads of flavor. Definitely a keeper. Beautiful presentation, totally unique. I think it'll look awesome on your charcuterie board. You'll find a recipe link in the description box below for the Zgornjesavinjski želodec stomach sausage. Absolutely incredible. Very pleased with the way that it turned out. And I'm just going to tell you right now, that savory that we added, totally optional. You do not need to add it. But it is literally allowing the flavor of this salami to continue to bloom on my tongue, and it's just bringing in these very subtle secondary and tertiary notes of flavor. It's absolutely amazing. Anyway, if you have any questions about this recipe, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel and you like this type of content, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because in the month of October, we are uploading a brand new sausage making video recipe every single day. I don't want you to miss a single episode. We're going to have a playlist starting from the beginning of the month right about here. Be sure to check it out. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. If you know how to pronounce the name of this stomach sausage, let me know in the comment section below. Whatever you call it, it's freaking amazing. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.